Welcome to part 2 of this video, trying to sort out the air leak on the FX DRS with the super high pressure plenum. What I've done, I've gone down to my shed, which is a bit like, if anyone likes watching shed videos, you've got to watch Norfolk Man Cave. My shed's not quite as bad as that, but it's getting along them sort of roads. But it seems to sort out most problems when I get a problem. As you can see, I've machined that. We've actually got quite a clear, defined edge now around this hole, where the O-ring probably had 1/2 mil to sit on before. It's putting about 1.5 mil there now, so hopefully that should be enough. The O-ring can sit still around there nicely without any more problems. I've changed the O-rings on these two blanking plugs, so obviously had them out and blown it all out of an airline, so it's scrupulously clean now, because the slightest little bit of dirt or debris when you're running at 4,000 psi is going to have devastating consequences to the gun. So hopefully that's going to work. There's no reason why it shouldn't. That was the initial problem, and I noticed it as soon as I took it out of the pack when I got it from eBay. You know, like you're all eager beaver, you want to bolt something on, make sure your gun's going to be good that you spent all that money on. I knew it was wrong. Should have done it straight away, but there you go. We're there now, hopefully. And plus the other thing, it should have been right when I bought it. You spend £100 or something, it should be fit for purpose in my opinion. Right, the 4 bolts come through. I've put a little bit of silicone grease on the O-rings, that should help that. Line them up. Just get a couple of threads on each one first, make sure they're all lined up, because it is crucial this goes down nice and square. Anyone's ever done the engine rebuilds, you know when you put the head gasket on, you always do your head bolts up sort of diagonally like that, so it comes down nice and square. Same sort of principle when you're working on anything like this. Right, they're all started. Just gradually bring them down a little bit. Working diagonally so it bolts down nice and square. I think we're there. Obviously you're never going to over tighten it when you're using Allen key this long, you've only got a short bit to turn on. Because everything's aluminium here, you haven't got to be stupidly tight, it is literally just to compress the O-ring. Once the air pressure gets inside, it helps the O-ring swell out, that's what does most of the sealing. Right, let's put our pressure gauge back in. When I first had this apart, I didn't realise I wound this in a little bit too far. There's a really tiny little hole in the rubber gasket under there and actually squeezed it up. I filled up there thinking there's no air in it because nothing showed on the gauge, it actually closed the hole up. So all it's really got to do is just come around to get a little bit of tension on there, get the gauge nice and parallel as well. What I normally do as well is just cock the gun, put the safety on. That way there's nothing pushing against the hammer because with no pressure in there, there's always a chance that exhaust valve can be open, the air will just blow straight through when you try and charge it. Fire up the trusty old compressor. Probably should have used a little diving bottle for this, but I've only got to put 100 bar in it just to make sure it's not going to leak. Not going to fill it completely up so we'll be here all day. And the FX probe looks like that. Yep. Yep, on the fan. £27 at the moment, just gone up. Hope for the best, fingers crossed. Feel your pressure already. 25 bar, good start. what I do, I get to 50 bar and just stop it, bleed out any moisture. It's quite a bad day today. Then restart. When they're pumping up from zero like this, they do generate a lot of moisture. I've got to 50 bar. You can see if any moisture there. No. Just goes up to 100 bar. That'll be enough to sink its seals. Yeah, the O-rings I'm using are nothing particularly fancy, just a cheap box of nitro O-rings I got from Amazon. I think it's less than tenner, but they fit most modern guns. Keep it behind a seal kit from the manufacturer. An O-ring is an O-ring basically. No sign of anything weakening yet, which is good. Temperature's still at 27 degrees, so it's not generating any heat on the pump yet. Bar. So when I'm building an air gun, all I use is silicone grease or silicone oil. You've got to be really, really careful with compressed air. If you use anything petroleum based, there's always a chance of an explosion. That's basically how a diesel engine works, is compressing an oil to go bang. It's like using actual grease or wheel bearing grease or anything like that on there. There's always a good chance you're going to blow your gun up. Obviously with a springer, when you get diesel in, that's the same effect. It's greasing inside the action and compressing and going bang. So I'm nearly at 100 bar. Should be enough to see if it looks or not. Still at 31 degrees, it's not generating a lot of heat. So we can turn that fan off to shut the noise up. Then we can have a listen and see if we've got a leak. Nothing. No sign of any moisture or silicone grease or oil. That's the other advantage of using a little bit of silicone grease or a little bit of silicone oil on your O-rings when you're building it. If you have got a leak, you will see instantly as it starts to blow out. That is all looking lovely and dry. Holding 100 bar. Let's just take the safety off and release that shot in there. This is lovely quiet gun, this. So I'm hoping that's cured it. I won't put it all the way back together until I'll probably leave it for an hour or so. See if the gauge drops. If it doesn't, then we'll end up putting it back together and do some test shots with it. But hopefully, fingers crossed, we've cured that problem, which I should have sorted out when I very first got it. Thanks for watching.